Welcome to News Game Plus. I'm Dermy and I'm here with New Game Plus executive producer Jason O'Callaghan. Have you been ordered recently to hand over your tax returns to anybody?
No, you shouldn't say that kind of talk at the start of July either, because it's terrifying. But no, I didn't make.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you're aware, but something happened this year, and not a lot of people are making a lot of money. And so as a result, my tax burden is going to be much lower this year, because I didn't make any money, so I don't really owe tax on any money. So yeah.
Oh, well, I actually, it's funny because obviously I'm referring to, we were just reading before we came on here that the president has to hand over his tax returns. When I deposit money into people's accounts, if they're friends, I normally put the description as like sexual favors or something like that, just to be funny, like ha.
The classic for us is for lewds, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Can you imagine if they're full of that?
Yeah.
I mean, they probably are. Actually, you know what? They might be legit.
Yeah, I was like, for wee good time. Yeah.
Anyway, well, some gaming news. We'll straight into Microsoft is going and buying some studios, or is apparently interested in buying Warner Brothers Interactive Studios and Rocksteady. I don't know if you've seen this news.
It's a good fit. Like realistically, it is a good fit if they can manage to make it work. Do you know what I mean? Like it's they don't get any IP. I assume it's just literally the studios themselves.
Well, yeah. Well, Rocksteady made Arkham Asylum or Batman Arkham Asylum, and Monolith also mentioned Middle Earth: Shadow of Mordor. So
yes. And they've got the other ones they have are Traveler's Tales, and I think there's one other reasonably big studio that they own / work with. Yeah. I mean, Rocksteady, like I called Rocksteady being a big deal when Urban Chaos came out. Urban Chaos was such a fantastic game. So for me, I'm not surprised, and I like it is because AT&T apparently have a $17 billion debt they got to get rid of. So if they can get $1 billion or $2 billion for these studios that they don't really care about, then it'll just be interesting because I think if Microsoft get them. Because the problem with a lot of the Warner Brothers games is they're all microtransaction fests, like real bad. And I think if Microsoft get them, Microsoft have a reputation for a lot of things, but microtransaction fests aren't one of them. You know what I mean? So,
well, there's actually a really funny game on the Switch called Shadow of Lootbox. It's probably on other platforms as well. And it's a send up as Shadow of Mordor, and basically it's just like fake microtransactions everywhere.
Yeah, gotcha.
It's quite a good take on it.
Well, that was because that Mordor was so bad. Like Shadows of Mordor was a really good game for it, and then Shadows of War, man, they got greedy. They got so greedy.
Well, I reckon we'll see more of that in the next consoles. It's just a hunch. But and there was rumors a while ago we spoke on the podcast of Sony looking to buy up some studios as well. So I think that we're going to see the first year or so of this new console cycle. I reckon they're going to push for the exclusives, and the way they're going to get the exclusives by buying stuff.
I mean, like the original rumor for that Konami thing was that Sony were going to do it, and then it changed to no, it's going to be Microsoft, and they're talking to Konami, and they're talking to Sega. So the Sega thing, I think there's definitely something there. I don't know what it is yet. There's definitely something going on there. I'm not convinced it's a buyout or anything like that, but I definitely think it'll be like some kind of exclusive deal. But yeah, I think with Microsoft's got their thing in what, 2 weeks? Just about 2 weeks now.
Yeah. I think so. I didn't write that down.
23rd, 24th. Yeah. So
yeah. Well, look, I think just going to show that the first 12 months of the next round of console. I'm trying to say cycle, but he's going to have.
I gotcha.
A few exclusives. That's where I'm going. Excuse my old age. I forgot what I was saying.
Because we're in an interesting spot. Because so Microsoft, it's fallen really well for them because this year they're launching the Xbox Series X and they're launching Halo. Do you know what I mean? Halo 5 comes out. It's going to be a Series X game. It's going to be an Xbox One X game. It's going to be, you know what I mean? Like, they got a big title. They got a title to bring people back in, and that may water down their ability to sell consoles, but I'm not convinced it will. I don't think we live in that world of it's going to hurt our platform to have the game available on two at the same time, but especially because Microsoft are working so hard to kind of integrate. It's not like the old days where it was like, oh, there's a version for Master System and of Sonic 1 and a version of Sonic 1 for Master System and one for Mega Drive. And it's like, of course the Mega Drive one's fucking 10 times better, because in those eras it was like the speed alone would have been a different thing. So
there were big jumps between each one. Yeah. Although this will be a big. PS5 will be a big jump of hard drive speed.
Oh.
So, all the specs, actually, the Series X has actually got higher specs and everything from what I've seen. So
yeah, no, the only thing that it loses is the hard drive, and that's where everyone's like, who cares? Like, the only people who are going to utilize the hard drive are the first party developers, because they're going to have to. It's going to be Metal Gear Solid 4 all over again.
I don't think anybody else is able to, because they have to make it backward compatible with the PS4. So
that's true. Any game, from this point onwards, that's right. Yeah.
All right. So I think we're going to see a bit of an exclusive war accompanying the next console war. I think that's where it's all positioning up to, and that's going to be done by buying a few studios, and we'll see how many studios are still open in 12 months.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's tough times. Like I know, I'm not sure if it's insider info, but the local EA, like Fire Monkeys, they're all working from home for the next 6 months minimum. Like, I think to the end of the year minimum, they're all just working from home. So there must be they must have been, obviously IT is uniquely positioned to still do okay in this current climate. You know what I mean? But
it's been no change at all for me.
So
software development and web development, I just sit at my computer anyway.
Even with the proxy NBN that we have, it's still. Imagine if we had a good NBN. I say that to everyone all the time. They're like, "Oh, yeah, NBN's been alright." I'm like, "Yeah, imagine if it was actually what it was meant to be." Fucking hell.
I was working at home doing programming for places and doing some web development on ADSL. So
I remember the old days of, hey, can I come and leech your internet to download Xbox games? You know what I mean?
I used to bring my Xbox over and plug it in. Yeah, well, you had cable.
We had cable, and then we had NBN just before we moved. Yeah.
But then again, you're not old enough. Maybe, but I remember when I first got a 14400 baud modem, upgraded from a 2400 baud modem, and God, that was fast. I remember how excited I was. You download a picture of the line by line. You go,
my first computer, the first computer I got, the main thing that the big deal about it was it had one of the very first 56K modems. And that was a huge deal. And I was like,
capo, you capo bastard.
Yeah, I know, right?
56K modem, holy moly.
Yeah, rich. Yeah, and that was when I was in 97. I was 2000. I was in year 7. So yeah, that's how I remember it.
I really, because I was actually doing that stuff in 87, 88. So, but that was, we went from I remember it's a 1200 baud modem, and that might have been a slow one, and you had to put in a second phone line so your dad.
It's just specific, yeah.
Anyway, enough for old man talk. So, okay, you said it might be inside info on that one. Do you want to cover that now, that we've got to be careful of inside info with one particular company, or we might get fined $80,000?
Yeah.
Am I allowed to say that even, or do we just move on?
No. I'm happy to bring it up, because I think it's a big deal. I think Nintendo have recently sent out updating their framework agreements for they're working with them to get pre-release code and stuff like that. 9 times out of 10, these things are pretty boilerplate. It's if you are seen to be doing X, the penalty can be up to and including Y. We don't give you the rights to use the content outside of what we reveal to you. Blah blah blah. We made jokes about how prohibitive and how harsh the Sony one was, but this new one from Nintendo doesn't actually leave any gray areas and a lot of stuff. So it's basically, if you have an infraction against the embargo or the framework agreement, it's an $80,000 penalty, and then they still reserve the right. It doesn't indemnify, so they still reserve the right to then sue you further. So the problem with it is it doesn't go into detail. Like with any of the other ones you read, it'll usually be up to and including. So it's like, okay, if you fucked up and you accidentally left your name up, or you accidentally mentioned the name of a game that you're playing, like this agreement covers, can't mention that you've got it on social media, which is these are all pretty standard terms. Can't mention you got it on social media. Can't leave your playlist on public. Can't share certain level information, any of that kind of stuff. But usually there'd be a little bit of grey zone. Yeah, standard stuff.
But that's standard.
Yeah.
They give you a list of things. So if anybody listening, you get a list of things that you're allowed to talk about and show, and they'll say certain parts of the game you're not allowed to do. You're not allowed to show any video
until such point. And then whatever, like we live in a streaming world.
So they give you normally a list of things you're allowed to do and not allowed to do, and allowed to show and not allowed to show and say about a game, and that happens industry wide.
That's pretty standard. Yeah, that's standard across the board.
And,
but again,
if you purposely leak something, or if you want to be clever and do a leak, and mind you, I've got to say most leaks are on purpose anyway. They're
Microsoft the shockers for it. Yeah.
So like it's a leak, or people on YouTube that have hacked the code and found certain characters coming in game.
Yeah,
that's
nonsense.
all bullshit. So people got to understand that. Yeah, that's just how they word. That's just like political leaks now. That's all that is. But if you do it on purpose, there used to be there is a penalty, right?
Yeah, so they reserve the right to come after you if they can show that you did this maliciously. And a lot of this is in response to, I don't want to besmirch them, but I'm pretty sure it was Video Egos, which was like a Portuguese site. Pokemon, and so they leaked a bunch, like one of the writers for them leaked a bunch of the what's that thing, the Pokemon and these certain modes and all this kind of stuff well and truly in advance. But yeah, so this was a brutal one. So this was F Nintendo, that's right. And so so they as part, they leaked a bunch of images in advance and stuff like that, and 100% Nintendo took him to town on it. And fair enough, and granted, the poor guy who runs the site just gave it to someone to do. So their reporters run out and he just leaked all this fucking shit. Like, he didn't even try and hide his tracks. He just leaked it all. It came back to him, blah, blah, blah. That shit should be, like, you entered the agreement knowing that this was a thing. Like, 100% they're well within their rights to do it. And then we've always had a good... Yeah. And we've never, in the 12 years I've done it, touch wood, I can't remember us ever breaking an embargo. I don't think we've ever done one. But we've been close sometimes. Like, I've looked at it and gone, is that the right zone? Is that the right thing? So you just double check it, you know what I mean? But the usual thing is, as long as it's not a malicious error, as long as it's removed straight away, as long as it's discussed in an open manner, the worst thing that happens is you lose access to your early review. They'll either cancel the contract with you or whatever the case would be. This new contract with Nintendo just straight up says any infraction will incur like an $80,000 penalty. Like, it's not, there's no couching it, there's no up to and including, there's none of that. It is literally just if you have it, it's like $80,000. And so I think you're going to find a lot of the smaller sites, especially the Australian sites, are going to just not be doing pre-release Nintendo code. Like, I wonder how someone like Vooks, right? So Vooks is probably the most well-connected independent Australian site, right? Now, he mentioned this on Twitter as well, that he's got it. He goes, "Well, this agreement that I've got to sign is a doozy, right?" And being he only does Nintendo stuff, so it has to be in regards to this. One imagines, right? So, so for him to come out and say that is very. It's an interesting thing that even he has to sign it, because he can't front 80 grand. If one of his writers stuffs up, he can't front 80 grand. And they now want you to list by name who's going to be reviewing it. And usually it's fine, because you, like, 9 times out of 10, you don't have to worry about it, because it's like, okay, they're under the auspices of you're the owner of the company, the owner of whatever, so you trust the person you're doing it, blah, 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 blah. But again, the thing with it is it just more than anything else, it's really broad, and it's really wide hitting. There's no if we prove that you have been if you've been negligent or you've been whatever, it's just literally this is it. Like, if you get caught, you're done. And to me, that's a really, really hardcore statement. I just don't see a lot of smaller sites signing off on it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't see how it's in anyone's interest to sign off on it.
it'd be fair to say that IGN, Kotaku, Polygon, they've got $80,000 in the
Yeah,
bank.
exactly.
Maybe not. Well, Kotaku is not Gawker. So,
Yeah, no.
but it'd be also fair to say New Game Plus does not have
I do
$80,000.
not, and because it's one of those things
That's
where
a
it's
lot of
like
money.
any infraction, any infraction will potentially cost you this much. It's just
Possibly.
and like yeah, and it's like it's one of those things where, oh, they can't possibly mean that. It's like, well, you don't know, and with how it's worded, and it's straight up, if this happens, X happens, and it's like you just can't risk it. Like no one in their right mind is going to suddenly say, you know, I think this is a reasonable, like, you know, I just don't see it happening where someone's going to say that this is fine. Outside of the big companies who can A, wear it, or B, take them to court and fight them back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
And all you need is one dick waving moron to want to enforce it. Look, I think what you'll find is I don't mind giving much away if I say that there are a few second, third level gaming sites, and I mean that by sort of like you got your big boys, your tier ones, which are your Kotaku and your IGN. The big ones, and then you got the next level down, which are the good ones, and you should read. It'd be fair to say that it's going to change how, if Nintendo sticks to this agreement and makes everyone sign it, it's going to change how Nintendo is covered by those publications.
Yeah.
It'd be fair to comment or not.
And look, and let me be 100% clear on this as well. We have a good working relationship with Nintendo. We would still have access to, obviously, you know, them and all that stuff. It's not like if you don't sign it, you're cut off. But I felt it necessary to bring it up just because, you know, some of our most viewed videos on our website and on YouTube are our guides for Xenoblade and our guides for a lot of these Nintendo properties, or our reviews of, you know, Luigi's Mansion and stuff like this. And
mostly card stuff.
Yeah, mostly Matt stuff. Like he's just put up the Deadly Premonition one, and that was a code we got sent from Nintendo. So you know, so from our point of view, it hurts us in the sense that, you know, we lose access to all of this this content. But yeah, I can't pretend that I'm comfortable signing this document, and it's a shame too, because, like, you know, obviously I enjoy working on it. We enjoy bringing you all this stuff, and if it ever changes, like, you know, we'll make sure that we redress it. But yeah, I don't, you know, I don't say this as a nasty thing, and I definitely understand why they're doing it. I just think it's a little bit heavy-handed. So from here on out, it'll just be usually post-release stuff from us, or news that we've heard, or whatever the case may be.
And I'll try not to cost us $80,000 a week on the podcast.
Yeah. Well, some of the stuff we said about Last of Us, we were nearly in trouble, and luckily, all the stuff you said was before I signed the NDA, so it was like, well, I can't take back what's out in the ether already.
I didn't find off you. I did not find anything out of you, and I'm not kidding with that. But look, it's like when I saw a thing the other day that a bank got fined $150 million. It was douchebag, have you say? Douchebag bank got fined but for something they did with Epstein's bank accounts, and it's like $150 million to me is a lot of money. To $150 million to a bank is not, and this is like that. It's like $80,000 to a small outlet, and most video game outlets are small. Is a lot of money and a massive risk, but $80,000 to a big outlet, not really. It's not the same level. I think that's probably something that would be nice if that was like taken into account.
I think it's more than anything, it's just the real stark wording of it, right? And then there's other little bits and pieces. I won't go into too much detail, but, you know,
you'd find us $1,000 and we wouldn't be able to find it.
Yeah. Like, you know, it's to me, it's that thing
you
of, like,
don't have to have big fines for a small outlet.
And like,
am I allowed to say that one?
Yeah, like, like, more than anything, it's like I say, it's just every other one that you sign, it's like we can potentially take action up to and including X, and you go, fair enough. Like, if I'm not being malicious, 9 times out of 10 your contact's just going to say, you're cut off, sorry mate, have a nice life, you know what I mean? And 9 times out of 10, like, any stuff that you would leak in that kind of silly manner, like, it's never anything that's going to really hurt them. It might be, oh, this character exists or something like that, or, you know, like I say, this is the problem with it, is you could forget to turn off your friends list, like that you're showing what game you're playing, And does that count for an $80,000 infraction? Well, I don't want to take it to court and find out. Like, I don't want to spend 10 grand going to court to potentially win back my 80 grand to then have my contract cancelled anyway and then potentially lose. So now I'm 90 grand in the hole. And so this is that thing. Whereas previously a lot of the framework, a lot of the framework agreements will account for that, and it'll just be like, look, up to and including X, we reserve the right to do this. But like, this is just straight up 80K, like straight up. Anyway, moral story is, again, you know, I hope it all changes and stuff like that, but I felt it important just because we have that rapport and that trust to call it out now and say this is why we won't be covering any like pre-release Nintendo content for the foreseeable future, unfortunately. Like I've got a lawyer having a look at it, see if he can find a way around it. But my reading of it and a few people's reading of it that I've shared it with inside, and you know, to some of the more professional people I know, has been that it's not worth even risking that one. So yeah.
Yeah, and look, to be clear, and this is probably a position of a lot of other, like I said, the not lower level, but not the big boy video game media outlets, is we'll want to do the right thing. We're not here to be funny. In fact, if there have been leaks, they've been from the big ones anyway. So normally, but we all want to, we all do the right thing, and it's just that one's a little bit too much of a risk, and it just comes down to that. Love the company, love their products, want to still be involved, but when you're talking that amount of money, it is a lot for
and I think especially when there's no kind of grey area, there's no kind of, well, you know, here's how we can distribute this penalty. It is straight up, nah, like you're done. And I'm like, it's just not worth risking. You know what I mean? Like I wouldn't want to. But imagine if one of the guys accidentally did it and cost me $80,000 personally. You know what I mean? Like how bad would they feel? Like I feel bad enough that they would ever putting him in that position. So you know, like I think it's just, you know, this is how we're handling it. I'm sure other people will have different, outlets will have different reactions and ways that they're handling it. But from my understanding, this is the only way that, you know, as far as New Game Plus goes, we can see it working. Which is, you know, unfortunately, we hope that it changes at some point in the future. But again, we have that trust and that rapport with our audience, and I just wanted to be kind of upfront about it.
Yeah. Oh, and like I said, we're not. Yeah, we have no intention of doing the wrong thing on it. It's just a matter of risk. All right, cool. Let's look on to another one. There's a live action Fallout TV series coming, from Amazon, which will be on Amazon Prime, made by, I don't know, it's the team behind HBO's Westworld. I don't know, I never saw Westworld. But a live-action Fallout TV series should be fun. I hope people are hanging halfway out of the TV and things are flying in the sky and stuff like that.
The thing that works for me is, like, the thing about it is, so, you know, the problem with Fallout 76 and Fallout 4 was that it lost a lot of the soul that makes a Fallout game what it is. So if they can manage to tap into what, you know, people want out of these character-driven stories, you know, out of these interesting worlds, I think it'll be fine, because you don't have to deal with Preston Garvey telling you a settlement is under attack. You know what I mean? Like, it's the same argument for me with Last of Us. Last of Us, a bit like, if that's what they're going to use to make the TV series, they could literally use it one-to-one. Last of Us 2, they could use the script one-to-one, and it would be fine, because you could have your tense,
Wasn't there like 10 hours of cutscenes in Last of Us 2?
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't think it was quite that much, but at the same time,
on YouTube. I bet look on YouTube, because they always have the cutscenes eventually on YouTube for games. Because I used to watch them with the kids for some games. Yeah. Anyway, but we'll see. But Fallout would be an interesting one. I mean, I've already watched Book of Eli, which is pretty cool. Except anyway, I won't spoil what Book of Eli was. But
have you seen The Road? Like, so The Road, like Cormac McCarthy, if nothing else, he writes very good movies. So
I avoid movies. I avoid movies with the word road in the title.
Fair enough. You and your fucking bad taste. That's fine. But did you see No Country for Old Men?
No.
Okay, so No Country for Old Men and The Road are both Cormac McCarthy books that became Cormac McCarthy movies, and he writes good books that will transfer easily. Like The Road book was great, and the movie was, because it was very bleak. There was no bullshit like redemption arcs or anything like that. Like the ending of that book is just hard. It's just here's this thing that happened. Welcome to the world, son. Like, that's literally what it is. And I think that's the thing with Fallout is you can be a little bit more camp with that. You can have a little bit of that more tongue in cheek because that's what people want out of it. But you've got to realize that it's driven by these interesting narratives, these interesting moral discussions. So I wonder, how you contain a game that is known for its moral, like making you play your own moral decisions, but then forcing people down a singular path. I wonder how that's going to play out. So I assume it's just going to cover a lot more of the bigger events as opposed to more of the intimate character moments, and that's where I think it will fail if it does. So.
Well, I think they can just do countless episodes of start of each episode. Some guy tells you that a settlement needs your help.
You stole my joke. I've made that one already.
Sorry, how did you make it then? I think if they did this story like Fallout 3 would be kind of interesting because I actually didn't mind that story.
Fallout 3.
Fallout
You definitely haven't played New Vegas, man. Shut up.
No, I played New Vegas, and what I did, I ran through the desert, where the death claws are, where you're not supposed to go.
Yeah.
So I basically thought I want to go to the town, the New Vegas, whatever it was.
Yeah.
And so I didn't do all the quests because I couldn't be bothered. So I just ran through avoiding death claws, almost dying.
Good job, idiot. Yeah.
Problem is you can't do anything because you haven't done anything. I just had to run around.
Yeah,
and I lost interest.
that game is brutal in that sense because what it will do is it'll just like, here is this area you're not supposed to go to. Don't go there. We're telling you, don't go there. And you go there and you get massacred. And you're like, oh, okay, so this is where, I remember this was how Bethesda used to make these kind of games. You know what I mean? Like they would send you to, these different areas that'd be like, don't go there, like you're under-leveled for this, and then you go there and you get like blown up. And then they changed that with Oblivion. Oblivion was the first game where they started going, oh, well, we want the player to not feel like they're burdened by anything. And I was like, well, no, we understand that the world is scary, and we're happy for the world to be scary. I
did find that annoying because I loved Oblivion, but I did think at the time, because I hadn't played an Elder Scrolls game before that, and I used to have this conversation with Oz on the All Game Plus streams because he had. But the idea, I thought it would have been a good idea if there were some areas you just couldn't go to because you weren't level 30 or whatever. I can't remember what it was.
Well, no, see, they never did it like that. They never did a hard wall like that. But it was just that thing of it's nearly impossible for you to survive if you go past this point. So don't go past this point. We're asking you nicely. Don't go past this point. And if you keep trying, rad scorpions are going to kill you. And then and then you come back in 15 levels time, and suddenly rad scorpions fuck off. They're not a problem.
Problem was they were always leveled with you, so red scorpions were always a pain in the ass.
Yeah, so this is the thing. Like in New Vegas, they don't level with you. So you'll find the next tier of them. Like you'll find rad scorpions, giant rad scorpions, albino giant rad scorpions. I can't remember what the actual name of them is, but and so you'd find it was bark scorpions and then rad scorpions and then giant rad scorpions was how it went, right? So you would definitely have these situations where that's how they would level up. It was just the next level does this, next level does that, but like. You could still, even in outside of locked off, like it's a secret base or whatever areas in even Fallout 4. Sorry, I just looked at number 5 on the screen as I said it. You could still go to a lot of these places. It was just like there might be one enemy that's bad, so you do everything else around this enemy, and then the reward for doing X that you would find lying around would scale relative to that. And that's what sucked about it was like, if I'm doing this hair-raising shit, I want there to be something worth it. Like, if I have to do this sneaky bullshit to get to this fancy gun or kill this one guy, like, I want it to be worth my time. Whereas, they didn't want you to do that. They wanted to kind of peter the game out over a wider span, and I'm not convinced that was ever a good way to do it, and so I don't know. We talk about the TV show, and I hope there's enough meat in the universe that they can still make an interesting story. I'm just not convinced they will.
Well, look, I think it'll be interesting. It's coming to Amazon Prime, and then no doubt Todd Howard will announce it for every other streaming service. Is that another one of your jokes?
That was a good one. That was a good one.
How many jokes were stolen? So,
No, that one was all right. That one was, yeah, no Zoidboard picture for you today. Yeah, that was good.
so cool. All right. Yeah, actually, no, I'll get to leveling up later because I was going to talk about something we spoke about off here about leveling up. But I did think, yeah, leveling up with you, the enemies with you, I actually, it was the thing I didn't like about Oblivion, even though it's one of my favorite games I've ever played. Now, something that will make you happy, the Devolver Direct presentation,
yes.
which I think will have happened by the time most people listen to this.
Potentially, yeah.
So yeah, and I mean, you're a massive fan of Devolver. They do make games. How would you describe the games? A little bit not attitudey, but
they make Devolver games, and that is. I know, because I mean, like, to me, it's a category, like, because you're right, it's not, you know, like you think of, Activision makes shooter games and they make Call of Duty, and that's what they make. You know what I mean? Like, there's not much else that they make. And when they had Bungie, they made shooter games. And that was what they did.
Yeah.
You know, Devolver's range exists from Hotline Miami and Pedro and all this edgy boy bullshit. You know,
Pedro's awesome. I looked at the Pedro icon and it was a banana, and I don't know what that is. And my son downloaded it on Game Pass, and it's really cool. It's an awesome. It's nothing to do with bananas, I don't think.
No. Well, I mean, like, the banana's his friend. That's one that talks to him in his head. But,
I saw him playing it, and he was on a motorbike and he was shooting in that, and actually a little bit the shooting bits looked a little bit cross between Katana and Impossible Mission in a way, and actually looked like a lot of fun.
Max Payne's the obvious one. It's very Max Payne. Yeah.
What happened to that series? I played Max Payne 3 years ago. It's gone, isn't it?
I love 3, yeah, but look, that's a whole other story. But like, so they've got those kind of games, and then they've got Pikuniku and Gris and all these more, like, they're not as edgy boy stuff for their thing, but they still make sense that they're a Devolver game. Like, you play them, you go, yeah, I can see how that's a Devolver game. I can see how Devolver would put money behind this, you know. And I chat to Graham Strawn every year at PAX. He comes down basically every year for PAX just for the holiday, and we're always talking shit. He goes, man, I got the best job in the world. Like, I get all these great talented people come to me basically nowadays, beg me to sing their game, and if I like it, I get to throw money at them, and then all we do is, you know, help them produce these fantastic games and take some of the credit. It's great, you know what I mean? Like, and that's not to say that, you know, obviously they don't do any work, because they've been doing it long enough that they can spot what's going to fit with their own, you know, ethos. I mean, you know, Enter the Gungeon, you know what I mean? That's not the same edgy boy stuff you expect out of Devolver, and yet it's a comprehensively Devolver game, you know? Like, there's a type that just works for them.
Yeah, it has their look, and I played a lot of running backwards, which is an interesting concept for fun. And Broforce. Broforce is one of the funniest games.
I think that's one of theirs, yeah.
Yeah, that's hilarious. Like, you know, you get the mission select, it's got the US general, and he goes, "These people speak different to us. They need freedom," and stuff.
Yeah.
It's got a little thing, and it's just really funny. So, and also fun game to play. It actually, Broforce has got a little bit like, it's a bit like Base Jumpers, an old Amiga game. Nobody's going to recognise that, but if anybody has, their ears will pick up. Yeah, a lot of fun. Devolver make fun, or not fun. They publish fun games that are really enjoyable and you can play for ages. But anyway, they've got a presentation which will probably have happened by the time anyone listens to this. So check out to see what they did announce, because it'll be worth it, I reckon.
I think so too. I think, and that show is always insane. If you haven't watched it before, it is just insane. So yeah. Yeah.
All right, let's do I'm going to do a Sega story, and I don't know if you've seen this, because it's been in the retro groups a lot. An Astro City Mini. Now, you know those sort of white plastic space shuttle looking arcade cabinets, the all-in-ones.
Yep.
Cool. For a while, there's rows of them suddenly appeared in all the arcades. Anyway, so Sega's releasing an Astro City Mini.
How good does it look?
You have seen it, 36 games. It looks really cool. And this is one that didn't really get much hype or anything, but it's another mini. It's got 36 games that'll be built in. I think I have a funny feeling the joystick that comes in, it's got micro switches and that, which is something for old people that we get excited about. But they've announced 10 so far. So let's see, Alien Syndrome, Golden Axe.
Alien Storm was one of the first games that I played. So I was always a Sega kid growing up, and that was that. So that goes from the side-scrolling beat 'em up style to the first-person like shooter part. It was like a not first-person shooter, but like an on-rail shooter.
Alter Beast.
Yeah. I mean, Alter Beast always sucked. So like, yeah, I've never been a big fan of Alter Beast. So yeah. So. Like I'm super keen on it. It has HDMI out. It has link cables, all that kind of cool stuff, so you can play multiple people together and all that kind of silliness too, which is kind of what it has to have. I think. Like I think if it doesn't have that, it's
Well, look, the reason I'm excited about this one is Virtua Fighter, and the reason being is that this is the first. The Virtua Fighter I've seen from the screenshots looks like the polygon version, so not like the 2D version that floats around. Reason that's exciting is because that's the first time any of these have really stepped away from the I know it's not exactly, but the 16-bit style games. And so if you've got a little mini that can do Virtual Fighter, that means it's a little mini that can do potentially some other of the AM department games. And the AM department games at one point were the thing. And if we're moving, and this has been frustration for me, we haven't moved past that I don't like console generations as a term, but we haven't gone past that sort of era of the real. We can emulate some consoles, but then it stops, right? In official emulation, and even unofficial emulation for Sega consoles, when you get to Saturn onwards, it gets a little bit hard.
Yeah, Saturn especially.
But if we can emulate AM2 and AM3 and those games that came out, and we're talking, Virtua Fighter, Sega Rally, Last Bronx, Virtua Fighter Kids, the best fighting game ever made, then suddenly that's a whole new group of games that I'm really excited about, and I'm glad we've finally taken that next step. So I hope Virtua Fighter being on this thing indicates that next step's about to be taken for emulating some of the best arcade games that were around in the 90s or thereabouts. Because Sega at one point, those AM departments, they were making the best stuff. I mean, Virtual Cop, Daytona.
Yeah. They were the arcade kings. Like in that era, they were the arcade kings, and there was a reason for it. Like they just made some fantastic stuff. And I think if nothing else, like Sega's legacy of that era was just being willing to try random stuff. Do you know what I mean? Like they would be like, hey, let's make this game because I think it might be something cool. And that was something that the Japanese games, especially in that era, were bringing us that a lot of other places weren't. And that was always to me Sega's legacy. Like, everyone thinks of Sonic and everyone thinks of this, but like just the way they approach games and the way they approached genres and made their game in X genre was just so that was what made them great to me. And it's a cool little unit. Like it's a great little like set piece. You can play in the unit itself, and then it's got a HDMI out, so if you want to go to like a TV or whatever, and it's like, I think it's 120 yen, so it'll be like $150 or something here. And I mean, like, that's not bad for like 36 classic games. Like, if you think of it from the point of view of having the hardware to do it. Sorry,
1,200 yen.
1,200 yen. No, it's not $15.
12,000. Sorry,
12,000 yen. Yeah.
You said I'm doing it, but anyway, it's also got control pads. You can get little USB control pads.
Yeah.
No, if I just saw Virtual Fighter pop up, and I had a look, and it was the 3D polygon version. I thought, oh, are we about to take the next step that I've been dying for them to take? It's just, I can't wait to see what the other 26 games on it are, because they've only announced 10.
Yeah,
you don't have.
I agree.
You don't have, source for any of the others?
No.
Anyway, cool. All right. That'd be cool. Now, here's one. I talk a lot on the pod. I have done a lot of time on the podcast. The second most common subject after Last of Us 2 rumors is about gambling. And just an a story I saw pop up. A UK House of Lords Select Committee has demanded that the UK government, obviously, must act immediately to classify loot boxes as gambling. So
Nice.
obviously
Good.
the UK agree. So in the UK doing it's a big deal because it's one of the more, what would you call it? One of the bigger Western nations.
Especially if we're talking in the context of that thing, FIFA. You know what I mean? Like FIFA's so big there.
Yeah, no, FIFA or FIFA. I haven't tried the NBA one either, but yeah, EA just basically makes poker machines to a degree. But basically, yeah. So so they have to declare that as, or they've said that has to be declared as the gambling, and that is a good move because it is. I don't know they play word games to say it's not. I've covered it over and over again on the podcast. It's a really good episode of the podcast with Jeremy Ray. You've heard of him, the guy called Junglist. We talked about that at length. It is a good thing. Like it is predatory, and I think it's going to really piss off EA and some other publishers. But UK doing it is a big deal. So it's, I mean, nothing against if Belgium or someone does it, but UK doing it is something that.
Well, suddenly it brings it into the Anglosphere, and as much as Belgium does that, and it's people can always say that's just Europe, being Europe and being somewhat kind of socially responsible for these kind of things in their old age after the war. And when you look at the UK, well, I mean they don't want to be part of Europe no more, but it brings it into the Anglosphere, and that is a big deal because then suddenly America goes, oh, this other English speaking country is doing it. That's weird. We should look at that.
Now I spoke before. Now we've also talked in the podcast about Battle for Neighbourville. So I wanted to have a little bit of a free form talk about it because you're okay with we jump onto that one? Yep. My son plays a lot of Garden Warfare, Plants vs Zombies Garden Warfare, which is the first-person shooter version of Plants vs Zombies. And Battle for Neighbourville, we've noticed over the last month or two has been dying, and the number of people on the servers has been going down, which is a real pity because it's a really important game. And the reason I say it's an important game is because you've got we talk about games like Last of Us, but they're not really suitable for anybody under 18.
No, well, that's why they're R18.
And this is one of the things with the reviews. Sort of, we do advertise the games. We did it with Grand Theft Auto, where everybody should play this game. Well, not everybody should. There's underage really shouldn't go near that stuff, right? So that area of the market used to be served pretty well with what was it called, Skylanders, and then Disney Infinity before they jumped ship and at least Skylanders became a mobile only game now. It's still around, but nobody gives a shit. But it's good to have. I always liked my son playing. My daughter really didn't get into it, but my son got into it. I liked him playing Plants vs Zombies Garden Warfare because it's first-person shooter. Teaches the class.
Third-person shooter, but yeah.
But it's a game that teaches the classes and the way to play and everything, which is done good because now you can rip through a game like Watch Dogs and that pretty easily. So but it's important and it fits a certain part of the market. But so it's a pity to see that Battle for Neighbourville has been sort of dying and the servers got empty and then they started filling the servers up with bots. But something
which is never a good sign. Let's be real.
No, it's not. And something that someone was telling me is he said. All the big players that he used to, because he's pretty good at it, all the big players he used to come up against on Battle for Neighbourville are back on Garden Warfare 2, which I thought was really weird. And where I'm going with this is I saw a video, and I know you guys aren't big fans of game theory, Matt Pats, but my kids watch him all the time. Is talking about a designer or somebody from Gears of War, the original Gears of War, when they did online. And they said, Gears of War, they found that if a new player played online and they didn't get a kill or they didn't do well, they often stopped playing online. So to encourage them playing online, they gave them buffs basically, so that if you're a new player, you had more chance of getting a kill and therefore enjoying it and staying on. And there's a few things that my son showed me on Battle for Neighbourville that you can't really prove or anything, but there was a few things that looked a little bit weird. Now he was a good player, but he'd sometimes mysteriously die from things he didn't see. Sometimes hits didn't go. And I thought, I wonder if they're doing that there because the conclusion in the game theory video was that, or he did suggest that the designer was now on Fortnite. The person said that, and Fortnite I think Fortnite does this as well, because Fortnite's almost gambling the way it does it. I was wondering, did Battle for Neighborville go down that path of annoying the good players by buffing the new ones to try and get them easy kills? Because they're all kids and you want them to play, right? And so they're going to get maybe frustrated quickly. To the point where the game now is it's almost empty, and you've got the good players back on Garden Warfare 2, which I found really weird. And Garden Warfare 2 servers are packed right now. Very, very, very strange move that's happened.
Well, you see, if you think of it, like, think of all the times when you've got, you know, these multiplayer games coming out, and they'll do like, oh, you know, for the first 72 hours, it's double XP weekend, or if you buy, you know, the digital special edition, pardon me, you get a bunch of, you know, double XP credits and all that kind of stuff, and that's what it's designed to do. It's designed to get you into the system and into the ecosystem in a more I don't know, not straightforward way, but in a more overt way than, like you say, than molding it through the way the game works. And I think you're right. I think there's some. I mean, it's an interesting migration. Like, one has to wonder why, because, you know, Garden Warfare 2.
Yeah, Garden Warfare. Yeah.
The biggest problem with Garden Warfare 2 was always, you know, the balance. The balance when it first came out was balked. Like, you know, you talk about, you know, as Rose was just, oh my God. And so, like, you know, you talk about, you know, the early gamer experience. It's like, well, yeah, that one had like awful early gamer experience. But I would say that Garden Warfare 3 definitely didn't suffer that. Do you know what I mean? Like, there was no point playing.
Yeah, look, it didn't appear to, and it looked like all round it was good. They had that 6-week lead-in period where they were basically all the keen players, and it was really popular at the time. But yeah, no, look, it just, I wonder if they've been doing that, like basically trying to give easy kills to new players, and yeah, basically it's sort of, can you be too clever with that? Can you try too hard to try and help out the Gumbies, to the point where your community that plays the game just goes, well, this is bullshit. I'm just dying for no reason. And look, I thought, look, when my son first told me, I thought, he's doing that meme. You know, I don't always die in games. And then I looked and I thought, yeah, he's actually right. There's some weird shit happening here. And we thought, maybe it's lag, maybe it's the internet. And then we upgraded the NBN. I got a new router, so and we tested all, and I'm going through everything. I'm going, well, everything's running fast as we can get it here. I can't believe it's that, but there's still weird things happening. And then then the fact that, from what my son was saying, no, not all of, but at least a lot of the really good players are back on Garden Warfare 2, makes me wonder, did Battle for Neighborville be a little bit too clever with how it tried to help everybody be even online, to a point where it just pissed off all the actual players? And now it's empty.
I mean, yeah, maybe. Like, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's just a bizarre move back, and I'm surprised the old game has servers. You know what I mean? Like, I wonder if that's going to be their reaction. Is they're just going to go
shut it down?
Yeah. That's yeah.
Yeah, well, I'd kill for a Garden Warfare 1 server.
Yeah.
You know, I still love that game, but anyway, just an interesting one that I noticed. I want to bring up because I think the games, like, I don't want to see Battle for Neighborville fail, and I'm really, really dead set honest about this. Because we need, if we don't have, you know, like, we've got Minecraft Dungeons now, which is basically, you know, kids Diablo, even though it's old people play, you know. And if you take out that, and if Battle for Neighborville's not there, and we don't have Skylanders or Disney Infinity anymore, you're really kind of leaving the kids to either they buy the over 18 games, or they're stuck in the app stores on the iPad and that. And it's sort of like, it's not really helping them, and it's not really giving them and their parents who see this stuff a really good introduction to games. I think it's really important we have games like Battle for Neighborville, and I hope something happens about it and it doesn't die as a series because of how they've done it. Because it's really, I think it's an important game. It's an important game for an age group that shouldn't be thrown to the predatory mobile device market, and it shouldn't be going anywhere near a Last of Us 2 or 1 or 2's worse, but or a Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah, because that was the thing with the first one was, I mean, the first Garden Warfare, the best thing about it was the fact that you don't really need to pay for gems, and even in the new one, I mean, it wasn't unfair with how it distributed gems and stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
it's not trying to, yeah, look, it's not trying to milk you for money. That hasn't happened. So,
yeah,
and that's good. I mean, you can buy if you want, but there's no reason to. And so
cool.
they've been in that particular game. EA have been, I suppose, surprisingly,
like
not
actively
their normal
against.
selves.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
Yeah.
but there's not, but so it's been reasonable in every way, and yeah, look, it's just there's some weird things going on it. People are going back to Garden Warfare 2. I hope EA fixes this up because I don't want to see it die as a series. Because during the time my son's been playing games, he's grown up through Skylanders and it died. Disney Infinity and Battle for Neighborville, now he's starting to move out of that, but I can see the benefit of the games for that group and what it does, and as a dad, I can play the games with him, and I played some with my daughter as well. But my son, the boys are normally bigger gamers. We can argue, why or whatever that is. But I mean, I played
I
Child
think
of Light.
again, it goes back to it's just they engage with games differently, and they're in the 20 on me.
Because it teaches, because I'm a believer in that fathers should play games with the sons, because it teaches, hey, we don't say that or we don't react like that. You have an opportunity to influence them before they get to teenage years, when you don't have an opportunity to influence them nearly as much anymore because you don't know shit. So I think it's important. But I just hope EA haven't been too clever with Battle for Neighborville, and haven't, because there's weird stuff going on there, and I just hope they haven't killed it as a series by. Because we need stuff for that sort of like sort of, I suppose, 5 to 10 sort of age group that they can play and be prepared for games when they get older. So when they do move from Minecraft Dungeons to a Diablo, or from Battle for Neighborville to a Call of Duty is probably a bit too soon, but you know where I'm going with it.
Yeah.
They know how to play, so they're not going in just getting killed. So when they make that jump up into the next sort of league, in a way, they're ready. And that's what tried to do with my son. It worked well. Just disappointing to see what EA have been doing with Battle for Neighborville.
Yeah, no, I hear. Yeah, no, that is a bit unfortunate. But I don't know. I wonder what the shift will be, and I wonder, it'd be interesting to kind of get an understanding. Like, it'd be interesting to hear from, the people playing it themselves. Like, why the shift? Like, why have you guys decided that, you're moving on from, the what is the new one, and isn't particularly predatory and is still fun. Like, me and you still jump on with your kid occasionally and play it. You know what I mean? So it's not like there's no
It is fun, but there is some reason why all the big players went back to number 2. And in fact, when you mention that, I might get him to message some and just say, hey, how come you're back on Garden Warfare 2? I saw you on Neighborville. Mind you, it's my account, so they might think a 50-year-old man's asking. I mean, that's a little bit awkward online for accounts for old men to be.
I need an adult indeed.
But it would be interesting to know what. We'd be interested to know why. But anyway, look, I just hope EA haven't wrecked it as a series, because, I mean, if they say, well, this hasn't worked because they made some strange decisions, then it'd be a pity if they didn't understand that, and then they basically said, well, there's no demand for it. So, the other thing they could do is shut down announce that the Garden Warfare 2 servers are going to be shut down at some point, force everybody. And then you kind of got just the worst case, because everyone will just move on. They'll just go off and play Warzone or something. So
sadly, I think that's true.
Anyway, I'm out of gaming news. So you got anything?
I don't think there's. I don't think there's much else to really discuss at that point. Like, I don't. I don't know. Like, realistically, the big ones we've covered. We've probably potentially gotten ourselves into trouble by talking about this agreement, blah, blah, blah. So we've covered all our bases. We've really been proactive on making sure our lives are fucking difficult. But I think the main ones are, we've still got a bunch of content coming on. We'll still be making TV. So obviously with C31 continuing on.
Yes.
We're just going to obviously figure it out now with Dandrews shutting down the state. Shit happens. We'll figure it out. So we'll still be making new content for now, and hopefully, you're still watching, and if not, make sure you check out all our channels and stuff. If anything cool or interesting does happen, we'll definitely be in touch. And the Japanese stuff is starting to really, I can't actually say it on the podcast, but there'll be more cool stuff to come from that very, very soon as well. So I know I keep teasing it, but these things, when the world slows down, everything slows down, unfortunately. So all the conversations have to go through a bunch more places and stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, well, they do that old Chinese curse. May you live in interesting times, and I've got every expectation it's not exactly like that, but that's what everyone says. We definitely do. So everything is a little bit sort of weird, but anyway, the Japanese stuff is still on the way. So obviously the tours to Tokyo Game Show aren't happening, but
yeah.
But
if anything, it's given me more time to actually, I reckon there'll be a surge of enthusiasm. People just want to get out of the goddamn country. So I think, if anything, it's better time to actually be researching it. And I have been refining my process and finding more places that randomly come up and all this kind of what they're expecting from the point of view of, if you show up, you have to be wearing masks. If you don't want to wear masks, you can't come in, and all that kind of stuff. Because I hope anyone who wants to come on these things is okay with wearing masks. Because if you ain't, getting in. Yeah,
it's in Japan. I think. I think if anybody is interested, I think when it's all safe and ready to go, I reckon a trip to Japan to Tokyo Game Show might be just the real.
It's definitely what I'll be doing. Yeah, I don't know about you.
Yeah, so it might be. So keep an eye on that. But anyway, we'll check out newgameplus.tv for everything we got. Streams, podcast. When we're streaming, it appears on the front of the site or on the stream page. All the videos.
Set it as your homepage, and do us a favor.
Make your homepage. There's news on there. There's everything, basically. But most of all our videos, our podcasts, and everything we go on about, and the stream. So if there's ever a stream, if you load up the site, the stream will be right there in front of you, so you can watch it. So newgameplus.tv, shop.newgameplus.tv if you want to buy something. Sorry, Luke, your stuff's on the way that you ordered. I haven't sent that yet because I've been out of the house for 4 months.
I've got some more stuff for him to chuck in there, so we'll chuck some stuff in as well. I've got 3 or 4 packages to send now, I think of it, so don't remind me.
So shop.newgameplus.tv to buy stuff. We'll make it at the post office at some point with our masks on. And look at newgameplus.tv. That's it. New Game Plus TV, all one word, on every social media network you can think of. Jump on. Tell us what you think. I would be interested if anybody else does play Battle for Neighborville, Garden War, what their thoughts are. I don't know how I can ask online because, like I said, it's awkward if someone my age starts quizzing little kids online about anything. So I'm hesitant to do that, but would be interested to know. Anyway, I suppose that's it to wrap up. Thanks for listening, everybody. If you're done, Jason, then we'll hear from leave from us next week.
That's it. Next week it is.